Hi, Liz.
Hi, Charlotte.
How are you doing today?
I'm alright. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm happy to be visiting you at the Juvenile Detention Center.
Here I am.
Here you are. Ready to talk about a potential discharge. How are you feeling about a potential discharge at this point?
I mean, I want to get out of here, obviously. But at the same time, things are safe in here to an extent.
Right. Yep.
So getting out of here, there's many more things that can go on.
Right.
That can't go on in here. So.
Absolutely. So I know that you and I have met before, but would you mind talking to me a little bit about what these concerns are? I know you've addressed them previously, but, where do these concerns stem from?
Well, mostly, just like, where am I going to go when I get out of here?
Right.
Like right now, the place for me to go is to go home. But home got me in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm here.
Right.
So, I'm not really sure how I can be put back in that environment, yet move forward at the same time.
Right. So, I'm assuming that your goal is to stay sober once you are released into the community.
Yeah.
Because you are here on multiple drug charges.
Yeah.
And so, I would say that, and you can please agree with me or disagree. Tell me what you think. But I would assume that your main concern with being discharged is that you really want to stay sober, but you're incredibly concerned that going back home with your parents and your siblings that I know you've mentioned have also do drugs, would cause a potential relapse for you and possibly, have you, end up right back here. So does that sound like the main concern for you at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how supportive that system will be of the lifestyle.
Right.
I'm going to try and maintain.
Okay, great. I'm glad that I could summarize that well for you. So now what I want to do today with you is come up with some possible solutions to help you overcome these concerns, to make you feel excited and empowered and confident about being released into the community.
Okay.
So let's make a list of, 2 or 3 possible solutions for you, and what some of those pros and cons would be for you with each solution. That way, you're really able to make an educated decision on what you want your life to look like when you are released into the community.
Okay.
So let's talk. What do you think would be one relatively smart solution for you once you are released?
I mean, one good solution that would be like a big change would be to not go home.
Okay.
To where I came from.
Right. So potentially live in different housing, to live in a residential, public housing.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that that's a really great idea. So let's talk a little bit about maybe what the cons are or the pros are in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that seem like?
I mean, the cons, first thing I think of is, if I'm not home, I have to pay rent. Mm-hmm. So, I have to have some sort of income to pay that rent.
Right, yeah.
And then, so I have to pay rent, and then I'm not home, I'm not with people that I know,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm kind of just like in a new, kind of stinks being somewhere where you don't know anyone.
Right.
So I'd be just in this new environment where I don't really know people. In the area that we live in also, I could try and find as safe of an area as possible, but not knowing people, I don't know who's into what. They could be doing drugs for all I know. I really don't know.
Absolutely.
So those are some of the cons.
Right. And so now let's look at the pros. What in your mind would make public housing a good idea for you?
Well, I mean, I'm just away from all of the negativeness that was where I used to live.
Mm-hmm.
So staying away from the gangs and my family members that aren't doing great things with their life.
That's a great one.
And pretty much all I can think of.
Yeah, well, I think that another really great thing about being in public housing is that there's staff on site. You could have an assigned case manager. I'm sure that maybe there would be social workers or, a tenant. That could potentially be a really positive influence on you.
Okay. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that social workers and case managers worked within that system.
Yeah, well, in certain types of housing, for people that have a history of mental illness, have a history of substance use, there is housing that provides you with your own case management, with your own social workers, which I definitely think could be a really great opportunity for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that that's a really good list for the possible solution of moving into housing. Can you think of any other sort of solutions that would make sense for you potentially?
I mean, just thinking of, if I didn't live at home, if I had new public housing, I have to pay rent, I have to have an income, so I have to get a job.
Yeah.
I, didn't graduate high school.
Right.
So I don't really know how on earth I'd get a job. Who would give me a job?
So you would...
No one.
So what it sounds like you're implying is that, you would need to potentially get your GED.
Yeah.
Or learn a certain skill. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. I forgot about the GED.
Yeah. I mean, you do have a lot of options. Is getting a GED something that you consider a possible solution for you?
How long does that take?
A GED, well, depending on the most recent grade level that you finished, it could take anywhere from maybe a few months to a few years. It really just depends on, how long you need to brush up on your English, your math, your reading.
Okay. I mean, if it's not, if it's a reasonable amount of time, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want it to be something that's going to take forever and then, deter me from finishing it.
Right, I understand. So your concern is that, you don't want it to take forever because you have a lot of things.
But if it's something
that
that'll
to
take me,
accomplish.
a year or so. I mean, I finished through the 10th grade, so I can't imagine
That's great.
So.
Okay, great. So let's consider a GED.
Okay.
One of your possible solutions. So obviously we know what the pros are.
Yep. I can get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Make some money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Those are all very important. And what do the cons? What are the cons for you with getting a GED?
Well, the stress of it, it's probably going to be stressful, and when I get stressed, I kind of spiral down and don't really know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that to drive me back to my old ways, if you will.
Right.
Is it really what I want to do? Is that what I want to spend my time doing? So you're just fear of failing, getting it done.
Of course.
That whole thing.
Of course. So what I'm sensing is that, even though there are really great opportunities that could potentially open their doors to you if you do have your GED, it sounds like you do have a history of being stressed out with school in the past, and you want to make sure that you suppress those emotions to make sure that you can finish on top.
Yeah.
So, do you think that you'd be able to overcome those?
You can try, right?
Yeah,
That's all I can do is try.
Yeah, and you and I will be working together through it. So, obviously you can always voice your concerns and your stresses to me, and we can work around it to make sure that you are able to accomplish whatever solution we end up choosing.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other cons that you can think of, or do you feel good with that?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, great. And in terms of drug use and, staying away from that, can you think of any possible solutions that could help you overcome those urges that you might feel once you are released?
Yeah, I mean, talking to you has helped about things. Here in the center or whatever, sometimes they have groups and stuff to talk through things and whatnot. So, I mean, if something like that exists outside of
Groups.
outside of here, could possibly be.
Yeah, I mean, I work with many different clients that all utilize different agencies that all offer really great groups. It definitely is something that a lot of people enjoy, but then there are some clients of mine that don't really like it so much. So let's talk out groups a little bit, and, figure out if you think that that's a good fit for you. So in your mind, what do you think
Well,
would be a pro for you?
I mean, the pro was, is just, trying to stay on track. That's something where I can go talk about how I'm feeling, anything that might be triggering any sort of feelings, and, like, having people to, get me through that and kind of talk me out of it a little bit. At the same time, it's nice to have people that, if it's a group situation, having other people that are going through similar things.
Yeah.
Being able to confide in those people.
Like a sense of belonging.
Yeah. But at the same time, you also have that, you hate when people, everybody has a different situation going on there, and it's like, they're probably judging me in some form, some way, shape, or form. So, that's a little annoying. It's like, well, you've been through something too. Why are you, judging me?
Sure.
You don't want them going around telling people, like, if they're your new circle of people, you don't want them going around telling people, like, your past. You're trying to start fresh.
Yeah.
Start in the beginning. I don't want them going around and spilling all my secrets.
Right. Absolutely. So it sounds like you're a little bit hesitant with groups because there is that potential of people maybe, finding out about your past struggles that aren't in your groups.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand. Is there anything else with groups? I think you really, you hit the nail on the head with those concerns. Those are all very legitimate, honorable concerns. Is there anything else you want to add with any of those solutions? So you mentioned attending groups, you mentioned public housing, and you also mentioned beginning your GED process.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty key component is the GED if I want to get a job. I still don't know how I feel about, being away from, even though my friends and my family aren't into great stuff, they're still my friends and they're still my family. So I don't know quite yet how I feel about, moving totally away from them and leaving them.
Okay.
If I'm in that situation, if I, start out in that situation, I do the groups, and I work on the GED, those things will keep me busy.
Absolutely.
And I can see how I'm doing with being around my old.
Great. I think that's a great idea. And at the end of the day, you'll be coming home, it'll be 6, 7 o'clock, and the day will be over, and you won't have those urges. Hopefully you won't have those urges to go out and mingle with those friends and, see what they're up to. You'll be tired, and you'll just want to go to bed.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you'll be able to stay away from that. So basically, to summarize this conversation, would you say that the solution you want to target first would be your GED and groups together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Equally.
Great. And you feel confident that you'd be able to achieve both of those?
75% confident.
Okay. Well, that's definitely a start. I think the more that we work together and, once you're released and this kind of becomes real to you, I think, you'll have that real sense of motivation, which will bring you to that 100%. But if you don't, and maybe you feel overwhelmed, or maybe you feel like, it doesn't make sense for you anymore, like your interests have changed, we can, of course, come back to this list and look at it again and try and come up with what makes the most sense for you at the time of discharge. Okay? But it does sound like it's coming up soon, so we gotta prepare ourselves for it.
Yep.
You're gonna be great. And so our final solution is to begin the GED and attend groups once you're released.
All right.
That sounds like a great plan, Liz.
Plan, man.
Great. Thanks,
Okay.
Liz.
Thank you.